This is Weirdly Enough, your regular podcast for strange stories and amazing facts, delivered straight to your favorite podcast directory and at weirdlyenough.com. Now, here are your hosts, Andy and Len.
Welcome to Weirdly Enough, your weekly installment of all that's weird in the world. You can check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. You can ask your Alexa system to play Weirdly Enough podcast. We're on TuneIn Radio, we're on iHeartRadio, Deezer, Podchaser, Stitcher, Pandora, Podcast Addict, Listen Notes, and lots of other podcast platforms as well. You can also tune in to us by subscribing to our channel for free on YouTube. I'm Andy Keane, by the way, and I'm joined with Len. Len, how's things?
Not too bad.
Good. Had a good week this week.
First week in September.
Yes.
Very autumnal.
Very autumnal, yes, it has been.
Back to school and all the rest
Back
of it.
to school. Yeah.
New pencil cases and
Hey ho, we're here.
factors.
Yeah. So what's it all about this week?
It's a bit of a weird one. Are you into numerology at all?
Not really, yeah.
The mystical power of numbers.
I wouldn't say I have a lucky number.
What
I do with number plates on cars, and this kind of has plagued me. In Northern Ireland, you have 3 letters and 4 numbers. And I try to add those 4 numbers up or use maths to make them come up to 20. So say if it was like a 2 and a 5 and a 2 and a 0, you would say 2 times 5 is 10 times 2 is 20. And there you've got your 20. But you have to do it through subtraction and addition and all, and you have to try and see if it comes up to 20. I've been doing this since I was a kid, and I'm driving along going, that one I can make 20 out of that. Yeah.
People get very
odd.
People get very OCD about numbers.
Right, yeah.
Even though numbers are kind of like an abstract kind of concept.
Did we ever look into the 27 Club? The year that people all
No,
we'll come back to that.
But we will be looking into that.
Okay, good.
We will be looking into that. That's going to be a big thing coming up. Now the number 7 is generally thought of as lucky.
Right.
Number 13 is perceived to be unlucky.
Oh no. Well, yeah, in Western culture, but I think in China and places like that, 13 is...
It's very culturally determined.
Yeah, 13 is a good number.
And there's a very esoteric kind of Jewish kind of thing of gematria, which we're not even going to go into because it's incredibly mind-bendingly complicated.
Okay.
And weird.
Well, why? What's the numbers' significance in that?
It's all numbers have different significances, and it's all to do with people's names are actually numbers, and they can predict the future and stuff like that.
Okay.
And there's guys on YouTube, and if you ever get into gematria,
right,
it's like falling down the rabbit hole.
Yeah,
you know, there's YouTube channels, and it's all this, it's crazy stuff, and it's all like you can predict the future because Donald Trump adds a certain amount of numbers. So this means in the next year, all these things will happen. You know, it's all kind of, it's pretty mad stuff. You know, but anyway, look, numbers, they continue to be a very significant thing in America. Have you ever heard of Common Core?
Common Core.
Yeah, it's a new kind of way of teaching maths in American schools, and it's got things like 2 plus 2 can equal 5, and all that sort of stuff. And it's 2
plus 2 can't or can
equal 5.
Can? Why?
I don't even want to get into it. It's like I think what it is, it's supposed to teach kids to kind of take a step back and kind of look at things slightly differently.
Okay.
But it's very controversial because some people think it's a way of like messing with kids' minds on purpose, you know, like 1984 style.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people are saying there's a whole big thing around the number 1111. Like, a lot of people say that they're constantly saying 1111 everywhere.
Right.
And there's whole communities and social media based around the study of 1111 and its significance, you know.
I saw a car number the other day that said 1111. It was no good to me in the old 20 thing.
Yeah.
Couldn't do anything.
But anyway, number 23, there's a thing called the 23 Enigma, and there's a community of people called the 23 Ardanes, I think that's how you pronounce it. And they're a group of people who subscribe to the mystical power of 23 and constantly say it in multiple combinations in daily life. And it does seem to come up, you know, if you look at kind of popular culture, it's constantly being referenced in all kinds of weird ways. For example, in the disaster movie Airport, the bomber has seat 23. The number of crosses on Calvary at the end of the Monty Python film The Life of Brian is 23. In Die Hard with a Vengeance, a train derails in subway station 23.
Right.
The lead characters of the Coen brothers. Now this is going to be a bit of a last show, but just bear with me. The lead characters of the Coen brothers film The Big Lebowski always used lane 23 at the bowling alley. In the television series Lost, one of the combination of 6 numbers that haunt the characters, and they have to input into a computer to avoid an unknown fate, is 23.
Okay.
So we go on and we go on. Now, a lot of sports stars have a thing about 23. Michael Jordan, the basketball player, wore the number throughout his career. And a classic example is David Beckham.
Yeah.
He swapped his number 7 Manchester United jersey for number 23 when he joined Real Madrid. Beckham, he said it was in deference to Jordan, is expected to. Well, I think this is all in the past, like, but he had a bit of a thing about 23. Marcus Trescothick, the England cricket player, wears number 23.
Okay.
And Shane Warne also has a thing about number 23. That's in the world of cricket. Now it goes into kind of history and stuff like that. The Knights Templar, which was an order of crusading monks, who eventually fell foul of the Vatican and the people in authority. There's been a lot of conspiracies theories around them and the legend of the Holy Grail.
Okay.
They had 23 Grand Masters.
Right.
And they were all the leaders of that group were all executed on October the 13th, 1323, which was where you get the superstition about the number 13 from, or Friday the 13th. And October the 13th, 10 plus 13 equals 23, is when it all happened. There's a thing called the birthday paradox, which states that a group of 23 randomly selected people is the smallest number where there will be a probability higher than 50% that 2 people will share the same birthday. Apparently that's a thing.
Right.
The birthday paradox.
So we get 23 people together. There's a higher than 50% chance that 2 of them will have a birthday.
Apparently it's a thing, the birthday paradox.
They are. Yeah, well, I'll come down to maths.
There was an author called William Burroughs, and he was obsessed with the number 23. He was living in Tangiers, and he met a Captain Clark who ran a ferry between Spain and Morocco. One day, Clark told Burroughs that he'd been doing the same route for 23 years without incident. Later that day, the ferry sank, killing the captain. Whilst Burroughs was thinking about the incident, a radio bulletin announced the crash of a flight 23 on the New York-Miami route. The pilot was another Captain Clark.
Oh.
Which is a bit spooky.
Very odd.
Now these events spooked Burroughs, and he became obsessed with the number 23. And he had a little notebook with him in the pocket of his jacket, and every time he came across a mysterious coincidence to do with the number 23 on a daily basis, he'd record it. So he compiled this kind of endless library of stuff to do with the number 23.
Right.
His last TV appearance was in the video for U2's Last Night on Earth video.
Yeah.
And the letter U from the band U2, the letter U is the 21st in the alphabet, and adding the 2 gives 23.
Right.
So these strange coincidences tend to pile up after a while. The KLF, do you remember the KLF?
Yeah.
They were obsessed with 23. Bill Drummond and Jimmy Cotty were once known as the justified agents of Moo Moo, if you remember back in the 90s. Which has 23 letters and comes from the novel of Robert Anton Wilson, who was another 23 obsessive. A police car used for the video of the KLF's number 1 doctoring the TARDIS had 23 painted on the roof. Their final performance lasted 23 minutes, and they incinerated £1 million on the remote Scottish island on the 23rd of August 1994. And there's another band called Psychic TV who released 23 live albums on the 23rd day of 23 consecutive months. And do you want to hear some more 23? Because this is incredible once you go into it.
Have you ever heard of Virus B23?
No, what's that?
William Burroughs wrote a book called In the Cities of the Night, And there was a subplot involving a radioactive virus which caused sexual delirium and spontaneous ejaculation of radioactive semen.
Could be messy.
And death.
Alright, I was going to say it sounds intriguing, but maybe not so much,
Yeah, so virus B23. Have you also heard of a company called 23andMe?
Yes, because that's to do with chromosomes and genomes and all that sort of stuff. Isn't it?
I think you have 23 chromosomes or something, or but certainly, humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes in each cell, which make up 46 chromosomes total. So
the average human physical biorhythm is 23 days.
Right.
Okay. In the Beatles film Yellow Submarine, the butterfly stomper, who destroys all things of beauty, wears a shirt with the number 23.
The number 23 on it.
The Latin alphabet has 23 letters, and it takes 23 seconds for the blood to circulate around your body.
Right.
So maybe 23 is actually the answer to all things. You know the way, like, what was it? The answer to everything in life is 42. That was on the Guide to the Galaxy or whatever it was. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's 23. Maybe all things are 23. Julius Caesar was stabbed 23 times when he was assassinated.
Right.
Have you ever heard of a gangster called Dutch Schultz in the days of Prohibition?
No, I don't think so.
Right, well, there's a character called Mad Dog Call, a gangster back in the old days in the 20s. And he was shot on 23rd Street. It doesn't say what city, but he was shot on the 23rd Street when he was 23 years old. A year later, Dutch Schultz, who paid for the Cole assassination, was himself fatally shot on October the 23rd, 1935. Schultz's killer, Charlie Wokeman, served 23 years of a life sentence and was then paroled. April the 23rd, on this date, there's more recorded UFO sightings on that day than any other day of the year.
April 23rd.
Which also happens to be William Shakespeare's birthday. So what is going on? Is the universe maybe having a bit of a laugh? Yes, every parent contributes 23 chromosomes to the start of human life. Egg and sperm cells in humans have 23 chromosomes which fuse and divide to create an embryo, hence 23andMe.
Back in 2007, a film was released called The Number 23. It starred Jim Carrey.
Yes.
It didn't do too well. It got an approval rating of 8% on the movie review site Rotten Tomatoes.
I might check it out.
Check it out. Yeah.
Is that a character that just gets obsessed with the number 23?
I think so. Yeah. I think so.
So 23.
Very interesting. 23. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much about it on the net. Yeah.
It's one of these things you do go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Now there is a thing as well called the 2317 phenomenon, because there seems to be some strange link between 23 and 17, but I didn't really want to go into it on this because when you be there all day basically. But it's kind of a brief introduction, but it's interesting.
Very good. 23 Enigma. Good. We'll be back with another story. I'm going to be looking at UFO sightings throughout Scotland right after this. An article in Scotland's Daily Record reveals that around 4% of Scots believe that aliens are living amongst us. That's according to a YouGov survey. They catalogued 4 of the most amazing UFO encounters in Scotland, and these include, first one here I saw, the A70 incident. A half-hour journey turned into an hour-and-a-half journey for friends Gary Wood and Colin Wright back in 1992 near the village of Tarbrax in West Lothian. Both men claimed to be stripped and examined by strange creatures aboard a craft before being returned to Earth. They never changed their story since then. And they've even passed the TV lie detector test. So, yeah.
Stripped and examined by strange creatures.
Yes, and then sent on their way. With a flea in their ear, no doubt.
And where was this?
West Lothian.
Maybe that's just a typical night out in West Lothian.
I think could be. The Prestwick incident. I think this one's funny, but anyway, did aliens stop by for a visit to the only place Elvis Presley ever set foot in the UK. In 1999, an air traffic controller reported a fast-moving, unexplained craft moving on radar. MOD officials impounded recordings of the radar and launched an investigation. But of course, 10 years later, when the report was published, no evidence could be found to corroborate the story. But I kind of think it could have been a lot of things. There could be, you know, anomalies that make the radar show funny things, or, you know, something driving past on the road that bounced a signal off, you know, but it's a bit of a stretch, really, isn't it?
Talking of Elvis, we should do a show about Elvis. Because he is so weird and wacky. You could pull together a whole show about just about Elvis, I think, you know. I visited Tour Graceland, and it's like the Disneyland for Elvis. Yeah. There's all these different sheds all around it, on the other side of the road from the house, and just everything there. There's Elvis in the army and Elvis this and Elvis that, and you know, it's quite funny because Elvis in the army, there's like letters from the like high up generals to the commanding officer saying, by the way, this is Elvis, so just, you know, let him do his own thing. You know? The Dechmont Woods incident, I hope I'm saying that right to the people in Scotland. Back in 1979, the year of my birth actually, Robert Taylor claimed to have encountered an unusual metal ball hovering in a clearing in Dechmont Law Woods in West Lothian. Again, West Lothian, an area popular with dog walkers and joggers. Well, that's what they said they were up to anyway. Robert alleges that two smaller metal globes appeared and dragged him towards the object before he lost consciousness. Cops investigated and found unusual marks that didn't match any vehicle. An analysis on Robert's clothing showed that they were likely ripped by sharp upward pulls, such as a mechanical device. And the last one here is the Falkirk Triangle, attracting more than 300 sightings of alien beings and spaceships on a daily basis. That must be weekly or monthly, I don't know. But anyway, it's Bonnybridge in Falkirk. It's considered by many to be the UFO capital of the world. Again, back in 1992, it seems like a popular year for extraterrestrial visitors. A businessman said he saw some strange lights in the sky while driving home. He initially thought the lights were stars, but as he watched, they started to move and form a triangle shape. Due to the amount of sightings and strange encounters in the area, local councillor Billy Buchanan had travelled down to Downing Street to demand an investigation into the incidents in Bonnybridge, which many believe could be a portal to another dimension. Interesting.
Not Downing Street, but Bonnybridge. Yeah.
That's interesting.
That is interesting. Yes. Thanks for listening. I found a good podcast this week. If I like to big up other podcasts. Danielle Perry, who's a presenter on Absolute Radio, does one called 11s, where she asks different celebrities 11 questions, the same 11 questions. She started off with Carl Pilkington, and that was a really good interview. She's done Steve Coogan, Jeff Goldblum. Those two were part of kind of media junkets for them, you know, promoting books or movies and things like that. So time was really restricted on those, but they're quite good. Jeff Goldblum's an interesting character, so worth searching that and checking it out. Of course, if you like our podcast, do spread it around, do share, do like it, do leave a review if you use Apple, and let people know that you like it. We'll be back again next week, folks. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to Weirdly Enough. Remember to subscribe to get the latest edition as soon as it drops. And don't forget to leave a review. Email us about anything we've discussed or with your own weird tale at podcast@weirdlyenough.com.